Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome to your quasi-annual Patreon campaign update video. Of course, about every year or so, we like to review my Patreon campaign, make some changes based on what has worked and what hasn't, and look to the future, where we can further expand upon this community, this very unexpected community that has grown out of this Patreon, and of course now the server and Discord server, and looking forward to invite new people to these things. Of course, for those of you who don't know, back in July 2014, I started my Patreon campaign. It was a kind of a tough decision for me to take the plunge. I was very early into what was new to both the YouTube and the content creation community. This new thing called monthly fan support, this monthly campaign that allows fans to support their creators and the content they create. But I decided to go into it, and I'm very glad that I did. And I'm very glad that, like I said, this community of Farlanders has spawned out of it, and even some great friends that I've made, and I'm looking forward to making even more as we continue onwards with Patreon. Obviously, without this support, I wouldn't have been able to continue this content creation thing full-time, or even maybe at all, honestly. Just looking back at it, there's a lot of stuff that always happens, but to be able to dedicate the time that I have to this as my career without having to worry about the weird ad rates or this or that or that, the other things that you hear perhaps a lot of other favorite content creators of yours being worried about, thanks to this Patreon campaign, has really made a difference in the good times and in in the bad, in the times where I perhaps have been a little bit distracted with things behind the scenes. This Patreon has really allowed me to carry on, like I said, onward to the future with science. I don't know why science, but science is always it's part of everything. So yeah, I want to just let you know really quick, give you a little bit of a rundown what this Patreon campaign has allowed us to do thus far. Straight from the beginning, we were able to remove all the commercials from all episodes of Farlands or Bust. Of course, Farlands or Bust is my top priority, and is first and foremost a charity fundraiser series, a walkathon, if you will. So it really meant a lot to me to not have to depend on commercials of unknown origins to be placed on these Farlands or Bust episodes. So every episode, all the way back till episode 001, I went back and removed all of the commercial monetization for those, and that goes for the current episodes, and all the future episodes are going to be commercial free thanks to the support on Patreon. It's also one of the new things this past year for 2016 I introduced was publishing a podcast edition of Farlands or Bust, an oft-request version of the podcast. It's now it's a podcast. It's almost a podcast of the series, and it really works well as a podcast. And I'm able to spend that time, that little bit of extra time per episode, publishing a podcast edition, which is also remaining commercial-free, so that you can listen to it on your commute, put it on your phones, put it on your Zunes if you're one of those people that still has a Zune. But yeah, that's really been a positive thing as well. And lastly, of course, like I mentioned, this community, this Farlander patron Minecraft server that we launched. It's kind of funny, back in, I think that was January of 2016, I finally set up a server, but wasn't ready to fully allow everybody online, just because I had never administered a server before. I'd never run it. I'd never really even owned a server before that I just allowed people to join. Obviously, it's whitelisted for just the patrons, but I set that up when I was going away for PAX South weekend, and I just let some of the higher-tiered patrons test it out, get a little bit of a first access. And right there at the spawn point, I put down a sign saying, "Thanks for helping me test out the server. This will probably get reset as we decide what we want to do with the server, so don't get too attached to your builds." But guess what? That's still the server that's running right now. That is still the same world and the same server that is running right now. and it has exploded. All these scenes that you're seeing in the video in the background, I've flown around different parts of the server. Some builds are mine, like the upside dangle house, and of course the recreation of the Mindcrack Royal Observatory. And then there's some amazing, like, I'm completely blown away by the work and the creativity and the skills, the mad skills of people on this server who've recreated the Wilson Hall, the Fermilab Wilson Hall, that I never got to finish on the Mindcrack server. They've done that. They've done these crazy nether hubs and huge skyscrapers and rockets landing on barges in the ocean. Just crazy stuff. And it's really, like I said, been an unexpected outcome. This community of people who took it upon themselves to start their own Discord server, an unofficial Discord server, they called it, which is now, looking to the future, going to become the official Discord of my Patreon campaign. So let's talk about that stuff. Let's talk very briefly about some of the changes coming to Patreon here. Very little changes, but obviously with the Minecraft server, I want to focus on that. That was probably the most successful thing to have been born of this campaign, this Patreon campaign, is this community. And I'm really happy that we're going to be inviting more patrons to join the server, the community, by lowering the reward tier. Of course, on Patreon, if you're not sure, there's different reward tiers. Works very similarly to Kickstarter, but I'm very happy that we can bring the reward tier for joining, getting the whitelist access to the Farlander patron Minecraft server. It's going to be reduced to the $10 level. And of course, if you're already supporting at that tier, thank you very much for your support, clearly. But you need to check out my latest Patreon posts for instructions as to how you can get whitelisted on the server. And everybody already on the server has been very excited to get fresh blood, new Farlanders and new activity to fill out the rest of this crazy city that everybody's built, and all these little docks, and to fill out the various north, south, east, west arms of the Nether hub. And just I'm very much looking forward to seeing what even more people are able to do, and go forward with that. So that has been a major positive. Just for me, just in general, a motivating factor, I suppose you could say. And I hope this is just a little bit of a way that I'm able to thank, like I started this video with, I'm able to thank everybody for their support and for allowing me to still be a full-time content creator. But wait, my friends, there's more. In addition to this, I've also integrated Discord. Like I mentioned, they made an unofficial Discord server before. Now it's going to be the official one because I've linked my Patreon campaign with this Discord server. Patreon has a fancy little system that automatically gives out roles and instant invites based on the different levels of support to a Patreon campaign. So if you haven't already, if you are a patron, also go into your Patreon settings and link your Discord account, your Discord username, to your Patreon account, and all of that stuff will happen automatically. And I'm hoping now that the Discord server is somewhere, like I said, I hang out, I ask questions. Oh, I'm going to make this change. What do you guys think? Oh, this is happening. What do you guys think? Oh, I'm going to jump on the server and record some videos for this Patreon update video. How about you guys hop on and we'll get some footage of you playing King of the Ladder, hey? You know, stuff like that happens. And again, a lot of really cool little groups have been born out of the Patreon server that I didn't expect, and this is kind of like out of my hands. It's their community now, even though I get to be a very lucky part of it, and I get all of the support from it. And yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. I wanted to try to keep this as short as possible. I didn't. I wanted to keep it under 10 minutes. I didn't. All the information is available to you on the Patreon page. Of course, if you are a member and you do join that Discord, if you have any questions, ask any of the mods, the volunteer mods that are up there, ask anybody in the general chat. They're all very kind people and they can help you out, and I can help you out. And yeah, to close this out, if I haven't already, I don't think I did already, I wish I opened with this, but I wanted to thank everybody who has supported me even for 1 month I do even have quite a few people who've been around and supporting every month since I started this Patreon campaign in 2014 in July. I want to thank you from words that I cannot muster for allowing me to continue doing this and allowing me to continue to make this content, not only for my patrons, but for everybody. If you can't provide any patronage, if you can't donate to Child's Play charity, I understand. Different age groups, different budgets, different anything. It doesn't matter. Just being there and being here and making this seem like I'm not just throwing frisbees into the wind, and you're actually catching those frisbees and returning them to me and teaching me to be a better thrower of frisbees. And perhaps I need some teaching on how to make some better metaphors, but you know what I mean, right? I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it, and I am very much looking forward to these changes towards the future, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you all on the server who are going to be new joining us, and just looking forward to it. So yeah, thank you so much. Patreon.com/KurtJMac. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time.